Lesson 5. Water for every household. My dear children, can you recall what are the different purposes for which we need water? Yes, we need water for drinking, cooking, washing, bathing, and to water the plants. You are right. Now look at the picture which is there below. There are some containers which are used to store water at home. Now, carefully observe them. The first question, which of these have come into use more recently? Recently means these days, of late. So the answer to this question is plastic bottles and tanks made of plastic and the steel tank which you can see. The next question, what materials are used to make these different containers? Now these containers are made of earth or clay, plastic, steel, brass, copper. The next question, what are the advantages of having a lid and a tap on the container? Now you may see pictures which have lid as well as a tap. Now this is very good because it keeps the water clean. No one can touch the water, so the water is not contaminated. And because of the tap, we can also close and open the tap and take in as much as water you require. Right? We move to the next part of the lesson. All of us need water all the time. That is, throughout the day, we use water for different purposes and therefore we need to store water. Whenever we need it, we can use it from the water which is stored in our houses. Now in olden days, earlier, the storage of water was done in utensils or containers which were made of brass, copper. Now there were even earthen pots which were used to store water. Now if you ask your grandparents or your parents, they will tell you the names of these pots, that is the earthen pots which were used in olden days. Now people also build tanks in their houses to store water. Nowadays, steel or plastic is also used to make different containers for storing water. As we saw in the previous slide, there was a picture of a tank wherein the water can be stored, and throughout the day when you need water, you can take water from those tanks and use it. Care of drinking water. Now when we use water for drinking, we should see that it is clean, it's hygienic. Because when we drink water, it should be safe to keep us safe. Now in case if we drink contaminated water, what is contaminated water? Contaminated water is nothing but water which is not clean, water which has got germs in it. Now because of these germs, one can fall sick. You can have a problem with your health. That is, you may be affected with some diseases. And that is why we should take special care when we store water for drinking and cooking. Now, my dear children, when we keep water in a container and it is not covered, what will happen? All the rubbish and dust will enter into the water. That is how it becomes dirty. It becomes unsafe for drinking. Now, sometimes what happens when the water is open, children may dip their hand inside and all the dirt from their hands may enter into the water. And so the water gets contaminated, the water gets dirty, it is unsafe for drinking. So we should use a dipper. You can see there in the picture, there is a dipper which is being used to take out water from the pot. So you can always use it and cover the pot with a lid. Now, the best method of taking care of water is to have a tap. Now, if you see the next picture, you can see the same earthen pot, but there is a tap attached to it. Now, because of the tap, what happens is you can prevent the water by getting contaminated. Now, what will happen? You don't have to use a dipper. You don't have to touch the water, so the dirt in your hand does not go inside. So, the water is clean, and so you can just touch the tap, open it and take as much as water you want and close it. So this prevents contamination. So water stored in containers which has a tap is very, very safe for drinking, so that people can see that they use safe water for drinking. Now, water does not become stale. Now, many people, my dear children, what they feel is when you have water stored in a vessel to drink water, now they feel the next day the water becomes stale. Now, sometimes we have food left over and that food becomes stale the next day, but with water it is not the same. Water does not become stale the next day. This is a wrong conception. Misconception means wrong conception. And people do throw away this water because they feel it is stale. This will amount to wasting of water. So we should not waste water like this. But in case if you have stored drinking water and something falls inside it and the water becomes dirty, unfit for drinking, then what do? You don't throw the water away, but you can water the plants so that we may use water carefully and sparingly. Now, nowadays we have seen our houses having plastic or steel containers for water storage. Why is it so? It is so because it is cheaper, it is lighter in weight, and it is also durable. And therefore people prefer using these. The maintenance of these things, the cleaning part is also easy, and therefore people use plastic or steel containers to store water. Now there is a small experiment which is being shown here. You can see that the top portion of the bottle is cut, right? And there are holes made on 4 sides of the bottle, and the bottle is filled with water. Okay, only a little part is seen unfilled, and then a refill, that is a used ball pen refill, is put on the 4 holes. It's fixed tightly. Now you can see what is happening. Water is flowing out of the refill all the 4 sides equally, right? Now what does this tell us? It tells us that when we fill the water in the bottle and make 4 holes and you've put tubes in that hole, it's fixed tightly. What is happening? All the water is coming out through the pipes that are put inside the holes. It tells us that when we use pipes from one storage, we can distribute water to different places, to many places at the same time. So if there is one water storage, from that water storage, water can be given to people at different places at the same time. Now, large cement or plastic tanks are also installed. That means they are put on the roof of a building. Now, why is it done so? Because when they put it on the building top, there are tanks which are connected with pipes, and these pipes move into each houses. Now, when it goes to each house, it goes to the kitchen, to the bathroom, to the toilets of these houses, and water is supplied to all the places at the same time as soon as you open the tap which is fitted to the pipe, right? That means you can open it and use the water for your need and then shut it when you don't need it. Isn't it very wonderful? So this is how one tank can give water or supply water to several places in a building at the same time. Now you can see a diagram which shows how water is supplied in a house. From one tank it is going to different places from the overhead tank, right? And here there is another picture of an overhead tank again. This is a common tank, and from here it is going to several other places, right? Now can you tell, if the rule is for everyone in the house to cook for themselves, what it would be? Oh my God, now we need to tell them about the advantage and the disadvantage. If everyone has to cook, what is the advantage? The advantages are that you can save fuel, then you can save water, you can save energy. And what is the disadvantage? The disadvantage is that you will be doing a lot of work, using a lot of things, waste of time and energy. The next question, if every family had to collect the water they need every day from the river, what would be? Again, we need to say the advantages and the disadvantages. What is the advantage? The advantage is that when one family has to collect water for everyday need, then what will happen? They will collect only as much as what they need. So water will not be wasted. But the disadvantage is they have to move again up and down to a distant place, carry the heavy load of water, come home, and they are not even sure whether the water which is collected from the river is safe and clean and potable, right? Water supply for a human settlement. Now, my dear children, we always see that the settlements, that is, people stay or live in places where there are water sources. Even in the previous lesson, we saw that the tiger would see whether there is a water hole, and it used to live near the water hole, right? So human beings are also likewise. They see if there is a water source, then they will live in that place. Now, in those days, what would happen is rivers, lakes, these were the reservoirs. These are the sources of water, and it was at a long distance, far away from the house. And it was very difficult to collect water from these places because you have to walk so long, and sometimes you are not sure whether the water from the rivers or lakes is safe for drinking. It may be contaminated because it is open, right? And therefore, how can people use water? How do people get safe water? So what is done these days is water from these sources are brought through large pipes to a common place, okay? And when the water is bought, it is kept safe for drinking. Now what they do, they purify the water. It is kept in one place and it is purified. So the process of making water pure or clean is called as purification of water. Now after the water is made pure, clean, arrangements are made to distribute this water all over the town or city. Through pipes, these waters from one place after being made pure is sent to different places all over the town or all over the city. This process of sending or distributing water is called as distribution of water. Now, okay, you can see a bucket of water and someone is trying to stake water in the spray pump, right? Now, when you do that, in which direction does the water flow? It has to naturally go to the upward direction. From the lower part, it has to be pulled up so that the water enters the spray pump and it fills the spray pump, right? Now, water tank at a height. You can see on the picture there's a water tank at the height. Now here, where does the water flow from? The water flows downward because this tank is at a great height. Now, we have to lift this water upwards, right? Because we have water sources are down. Now, how will we lift this water up? So, it requires lot of force, lot of energy to take this water up. Now, how is this done? It is done with the help of machines. Now, machines are used for lifting water, and these machines are called as pumps. Now, pumps run on diesel or electricity. Okay, now sometimes in your building when there is no power, there is no electricity, what happens? You may hear the news that today water will come late because there is no electricity. Why? Because these electricity or the machines, they pump out the water, and this machine which pumps water uses diesel or electricity, right? So, before electricity was discovered, it was very, very difficult. It was not possible to raise water to a great height, and it was very, very difficult for people to get water inside the houses. Therefore, they used to go to the rivers, to the lakes and wells and take water. But because of electricity, we can pump water and we can even take it to greater heights, and from there it is supplied to the different towns and cities. Now you can see a picture how the journey of water from sources to house, that means from one place which is the main source, from that source the water is taken and it is undergoing various process. As we told you in the previous page, you must have learnt about how it is purified. After being purified, what happens? It is distributed to different places in the cities and the big cities and towns, as I told you earlier. So now you can see the water is there in a source. It is stored in a big tank, okay, and from there water leaves. The water is purified because water is unclean, right? It is not safe for drinking, and so there is a purification plant center wherein they purify the water, and that means water is made clean over there, right? And from there the water is released from this place through big pipes, and then the big pipes, they branch out into smaller pipes which lead the water to different areas. So the smaller pipes are taking the water to different places, okay, and in a particular area the pipe branches out into smaller and smaller pipes, and this is how water is taken to each and every house. In some places there are 2 or 3 common taps for the whole area, and people living in that area come there and fill water for their families. So they don't get house in their own houses, but they have a common tap wherein everyone comes there and fills the water. So this is how water is distributed. From one main source, it is purified, and then after it is purified in the purification center, it is taken through big pipes to different places, and the big pipe branches out into smaller pipes, and it goes to different cities and towns, and yet again it is branching out to different houses in the cities. Now, we human beings cannot live without water because water is the basic necessity of human beings, and we have to see that we live in place which is close to the water. We get water easily, right? Now that is why in olden days, when you must have been seeing that cities grew on the banks of big rivers. When there is a river, people used to like to stay near the river. Why? Because they need water for all the things that they have to do throughout the day, for cooking, washing, bathing, right? And now we know that there are many such cities in our country. India is a country and it is made up of many states, and in the states we have many cities, right? Now Delhi is the capital of our country. We all know this, right? It is situated on the banks of river Yamuna in North India. So now you see there is a settlement near a river. That is how we have a settlement in North India near the river Yamuna. Patna on the banks of Ganga in Bihar. So this is another place where there is a settlement. Patna is a settlement on the banks of river Ganga. It is in Bihar, and in Nasik in Maharashtra on the bank of the Godavari. So these are some examples where the people love to stay, where there is a source of water, where there is a settlement. You are sure to understand that there is a source of water at that place. Now, in some places water is drawn from the wells. You can see on the picture. There are bore wells which are also used to draw water, and they get water to their houses. In their houses, if they need some water, they have to go and fetch water from the wells, right? But it need not be safe at times. The wells are open, right? What can happen? Some dirt can be put inside it. So it is not potable. That means it is not clean and safe for drinking. Now therefore, it may cause diseases. It may endanger the health. What is to be done at such a situation? Now people have no other way. They have to take water from this place. So what will they do to keep water potable or clean and safe for drinking? They will boil this water. So boiling is one of the best methods of purifying water. Now, you can see a picture wherein there is a tanker which is coming to a place, and the people are carrying water from the tanker and they're taking it home. So such water may not be so clean at times, and you need to boil them. Now how much water is required in your house every day? Now every day, you know, when morning water comes in your house, mama must be filling all the buckets and utensils or the containers. The overhead tank is filled. So as much as you require is being stored. And who fills this water? That you can answer for yourself. You must be seeing who fills water in your house, right? Now, again there is a small experiment to be done. Take an empty bucket and you lift it up. Now you will know what is the weight of it. It must be light, of course, yes. Now half fill it with water and see how much heavier it becomes. Oh my God, you have to lift up a bucket which is half filled with water. Oh, it's a difficult work to do, and it will be a little heavier than the previous one, right? Remember how much water you need in your house. Now you need for the whole day so much of water, and all this water has to be taken from one tank and it has to be pumped up so that the overhead tank in your building gets this water, and this water comes to your house. Now you can understand how much work is done to fill water, correct? It's very easy to have an empty bucket, but when you want to fill water and lift it up, oh my God, we have to use lot of energy. After some time, when you are free, you can do this experiment and see for yourself, understand for yourself how difficult it is. Likewise, when you want to take water to a greater height, it is very difficult and it needs lot of energy. Now let's answer some questions which are asked below. Which fuel is used to run the following machines? The hand pump that lifts water from a bore well, a pump used to store water in the water tower, the tanker that brings water to a certain area. See, for all these things we need diesel, which is used in the hand pumps, and tanker has to run, no? So when the vehicle has to be used, it has to have some fuel. So the fuel is diesel, and the machines need electricity. When the pump has to run, we need electricity to run the pump. Now many people are engaged in this work. So many people work so that we get clean water. Now what is the work they have to do? They have to do purification of the water. From one place, when water comes to another place, there is a purification center, and here they purify the water, and the storage of water and distribution has to be done. That means after puring the water, it is stored in a clean place, and from there they send it through pipes to different places in the towns and cities. And to do this, what is needed? A lot of work has to be done. Electricity is needed, diesel is needed to run the machines, and therefore lot of money is spent to do this work. Hence potable water proves to be very expensive. So we must take care that you do not use the water anyhow, waste it, because that water that we get into our houses is very valuable, right? Because we spend so much money, so much energy, so much work to get this water into our houses, and so we must not waste water, right? And you must see that you don't contaminate this water. Now what can we do to use water without wasting? Now there are certain points given here. Let's try to answer them. If the water you have taken in a mug to wash your face is left over, will you throw it away or keep it to use later? Yes, of course, we should not waste water. We will keep it aside and use it later. While you brush your teeth, do you keep the tap running or do you turn it off in between? Yes, we should not waste water again. You know, you have to keep it off. Put the tap off when you are brushing your teeth, and when you need it, when you want to gargle your mouth, that is the time you will put the tap on and then use the water. The next question, do you throw away the water used for washing vegetables, fruits, etc., or do you water your plants with it? Sure that we will not waste water, since we know that it is such a costly, that is an expensive affair to clean water and get water to your homes, and therefore we will use this water to water the plants. While rinsing things under a tap, do you turn it on fully or just enough? We will turn it on just enough to wash the vegetables, or just as we need the water to clean whatever things we are using. Correct? Now there's another question once again. Let's use our brain power. The garden is to be watered. Tap water and well water are both available. What will you use? Oh, we will use the well water because tap water is got to your houses after a lot of purification, after a lot of work done by so many people, and a lot of money and energy is used for it. So we have to save this water, and well water can be used because it does not undergo these processes, right? So we will use well water. What we have learnt, let's revise it. We need water continually, and therefore we need to store water. Now a lid and a tap on a water container helps to keep the water clean and make it easier to use. If drinking water is not potable, it can cause diseases. Therefore, special care must be taken of drinking water. Cities and towns have water purification centers and distribution systems. If we use water from other sources, we should ensure that it is potable. Obtaining potable water involves labor as well as expense. Water should be stored properly and used carefully. Now please remember, water is valuable. Take good care of it. Do not waste water. Thank you.